Hello.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to that vegan morning show, pre-recorded edition.
How's it going, Jen?
It's going well. How are you doing?
I am doing well too. And I am excited about us doing this tonight because it means that when this airs on Monday, Memorial Day here in the US, that we get to sleep in and
Yeah,
we'll respond to the comments when we wake up in the morning.
exactly. Although I probably might still be up because my cat Menorah likes to be fed promptly at a certain time. So,
That's right. And what they say goes. The cats
exactly.
here are the same and they expect things when they expect them and they're not happy when they don't get them at that time.
This is very true. And you don't want an unhappy cat because they will
No,
get their
you
revenge.
don't.
Menorah will purposely, like, what do your cats do? Because, like, mine, Menorah, she will go purposely either chew on something. Like, if there's a box, she'll like look and she'll go walk over and just start like chewing to like get attention, or she'll like all of a sudden care about some shelf or some like spot that she would normally ignore and
Yeah.
like threaten to do something. What do your
Oh
cats
my
do?
God. It's so wonderful. Well, it's less one. I'm really enjoying all of Menorah's little antics. Gemma sometimes she wants to fight with Daisy when she's hungry, and so that's less fun and less
Hmm.
cute. I really hate that. I'm hoping that we can figure out how to put an end to them not getting along. I'd like for them to be able to exist in a room together. They don't have to like each other, just like people. Animals are
Mhm.
not always going to like every other animal around them. But yeah, that's the big thing. And Gemma and Gus will also start jumping up onto the counter. And I know some people are going to go, oh my God, but you live with a cat, they go where they go, and you just clean the surface
Mhm.
that they've been on, and then it's not such a big deal. But they love jumping on the counter and being like, hey, hello, where am I going? Did you see my camera? Like, I didn't even move. It was like zoom out. Oh, she's coming back.
I was like, where are you going, Kimberly?
It was like my chair moved, but it didn't. It was just my camera. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's so silly. But they do, they love to get up on the counter and sometimes they'll knock things down from there.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. Or Gemma will get up on the top of the fridge and then she'll like look around the wall and be like, hello, I'm up here. What are you doing? Where's my breakfast or my lunch or my dinner? Yeah.
They sound like a lot of fun.
They are. They really are. I love them. They bring a lot of joy to our lives.
That's good. Joy and
Yeah.
joyful chaos, I think that sums
Yes. Yeah,
that.
that is true.
Lenore likes to also jump on the table sometimes. She never goes up on the table, but again, if she wants attention, then
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yes. So enough about our little fur balls for now.
For now.
For now, I'm sure they'll come up again. They're all
Yeah.
interesting characters. So we thought it would be fun to talk about how to navigate the summer as a vegan, right?
Yeah.
There's barbecues, there's traveling, right?
Mhm.
And all of those things can be extra challenging when you're also doing that with non-vegans. And
Yeah.
so we thought since, Memorial Day weekend is here by the time this episode airs, which kicks off the barbecue season in the US and traveling and just all of that stuff, we thought it'd be fun to talk about all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, hmm. So I actually have a like right in this moment or a couple of hours ago experience. So JP's away for a work conference down in Arlington, Virginia,
Mhm.
and he didn't check, so it's paid for by the firm he works for, and so he didn't check, does the hotel have vegan options at the restaurant, or are there, without having to go into DC, there goes the camera again, without having to go into DC, does he have options that he can, where he can find something nearby?
Mhm.
And he called me right after he was I called him when I was on my way home, and he was like, I had the best dinner. So this restaurant, totally unexpected, had like a curried chickpea dish with like rice and a ton of vegetables. And then they also had a hummus appetizer. So he was thinking, oh, it's just like, I'm going to get the hummus because, of course, right? He's married to me. He's got to get the hummus. But he's like, I'm going to get the hummus. And he saw it came with pita and he thought, oh, that'll be nice. And then he opens it up and it's not just one type of hummus, it's two. It's like like a traditional hummus and then a roasted red pepper and then like flavored pita and unflavored pita, like almost like everything bagel seasoning on it. Yeah, and he was like, I have leftover food. Like he's so happy to have discovered this amazing vegan option at the restaurant at the hotel. And so sometimes we travel and we don't prepare. He was wrapped up in other things and didn't think to check that. But we can be pleasantly surprised. And other times we really have to kind of do our due diligence and make sure, being so close to DC, I think he was feeling pretty confident he'd find something. But yeah, traveling can be dicey depending on where you're going. And you might have to really do some research before you go.
Absolutely. First of all, I love that story. And I'm so happy for JP for finding all of that.
I'm jealous.
First of all, roasted red pepper hummus is my favorite.
So good.
So good. I like to put it on pasta.
Yeah.
I have a tomato sensitivity, so I try to avoid tomato sauce and tomato products as much as possible. And so roasted red pepper hummus with some fresh basil on it is so good. It's so good. Anyway, that sounds amazing. And sometimes too, like I find if you plan for these things, it can be sometimes disappointing, right? Something looks great and it's not. And then something you didn't have high expectations for ends up, you end up finding something, amazing because you didn't plan. So sometimes that can work in your favor. And I think too, like DC, I was there a few years ago and they had like a lot of vegan friendly places for the most part. From what I remember. I don't remember what I ate there, but I remember I didn't starve. So okay. So we'll do like a cue back in. Okay. 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Kimberly had to step away for a moment because her cat Gemma was causing trouble.
As she does.
She knew you were talking about her before.
You know what? I bet that's it.
She's like, how dare she say these things about me?
Yeah. I'm going to show her.
Right?
Poor Daisy has to be on the other end of that.
Well, anyway, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience while I was the referee for that one.
Yes, it sounded
fun on my head. Yeah.
It sounded fun. So I was talking about picking my son up from college, and there's a few like fast food places that are like my top picks for vegan options. So Dunkin' Donuts, their bagels, a lot of their bagels are vegan, like because it's easy to think, oh, bagel or bread could be vegan, but sometimes there could be dairy, sometimes there could be honey, even an egg wash sometimes on certain types of bread. So I always like Google or like and look up which things are. So Dunkin' Donuts usually has, and they have like an avocado spread. They have the hash browns, and then they also have different dairy alternatives for coffee. So that's like my and some of them also have like bananas and like oatmeal. I don't know if they still have oatmeal, but I know they used to. If I'm going there, I'm not getting oatmeal.
Yeah, same. Starbucks has oatmeal. I've never gotten oatmeal.
Yeah, their bagels are also vegan, like a couple of them, and they even have like a little V next to them in the glass. I wish they would make other things vegan. I'm surprised both Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks have not made like some kind of vegan cookie or donut or something. Hopefully one day.
Yeah.
But at least they have, like, I know if I can find a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts, I'm not going to starve. Another
Mhm.
one is Subway. Like Subway has like you can make like anything you put in a sub, you can turn into a salad. And then also some of their breads are vegan. And I always, whenever I do have to go to Subway, I always look up the latest information because you never know if something changed. Um, so I always double check like which dressings or condiments are vegan friendly, which breads are vegan friendly. I've never done this, but I have seen people share on like Facebook groups, vegan Facebook groups, where they've bought their own like vegan deli meat and then they've
Oh,
gone to Subway and put that on after. So I think that's a great idea to like
yeah.
have like some vegan deli meat in your cooler, and then this way you go to the Subway and you can get all the fancy toppings and stuff.
Mhm.
So, and then the other favorite of mine, this is probably my bigger favorite, is Panera Bread. Panera Bread has you can do a lot of modifications, and along the thruway in New York State, and I think even their main, I've even seen this and just the ones that are not along a travel route.
Mhm.
They have like a kiosk where you can like order your food and you
Yeah.
can customize that way. And so there's, hopefully not a mistake is being made because you're clearly choosing everything. So yeah, and some of their dressings are also vegan, and yeah, and some not all of their breads are vegan, but if you like Google it, it'll like come up like which of their breads are vegan friendly. And so that's how I don't starve along the road.
You know, with Subway too, one of the things that I always loved about Subway, even when I was just vegetarian, is that, because they're preparing your sandwich, like, along the row, it's
Mhm,
not weird, and most of them don't react weirdly if you say, "Hey, can you change your gloves?"
mhm.
Because, they're making sandwiches, so if somebody before you got animal products and you're looking to have what are they called? Like the veggie delight or something where it's just
Yeah.
vegetables on the
Mhm,
roll. If you just say, "Hey, could you change your gloves?" More often than not, they're like, "Yeah, sure." Or they just do it and it's not even a big deal. I really
mhm.
have always appreciated that about Subway.
Yeah, they are pretty good. Yeah, I've had pretty good experiences with Subway. So and yeah, and because especially now, Pete, there's so much concern with allergies, right? People
Mhm.
might, so for all they know, you might have an allergy, which
Right.
sometimes it might be easier to say, "Hey, I'm allergic to something," than to try to explain
Mhm.
you're being vegan.
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are some of my favorite things. And then there's certain things I do like to travel with. Like I do like Three Wishes cereal. It's the protein cereal. When I went to Hawaii with my husband, I put a box of Three Wishes cereal in our suitcase.
You really love Three Wishes cereal.
Well, that and the thing is, like, so our hotel, first of all, Hawaii is very expensive.
Mhm.
And our hotel, it had a free breakfast. It was like a whole breakfast buffet thing. And I wasn't sure what my options were gonna be. And they
Yeah.
did have oatmeal, but I wasn't sure how it was prepared, and I didn't feel like asking. And even if I asked, I don't know. I just, and I didn't, again, I didn't really necessarily want oatmeal on vacation
I
either.
know, right?
They did have little cartons of soy milk, so I had that, and they had fruit, and sometimes they had like roasted vegetables. So I had my Three Wishes cereal that I smuggled into the dining area. And and I brought this little Tupperware container that I would like pre-measure my cereal in to bring down to the dining room.
That's smart.
Yeah, and then this way I had my protein, right? I knew I had a
Mhm.
good breakfast, and
Yep.
then we went about our day. So yeah, and I always try to like do that, bring certain snacks. Like I'm a big fan of Lara bars. I like them. They're made out of, like whole foods.
Mhm.
And they taste like candy bars. So
It's a win in my book.
anything that tastes like a candy bar and is mostly healthy is like
Mhm.
it wins for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always try to bring like some type of Lara bar with me. as well. And because you're going along the road, and always water. It's always good to travel with water. Oh, I see your chair's moving again.
I don't know.
Come back.
I know the camera. Like I just haven't figured it out. Why does it do that? Was I even moving? I don't know.
I don't know. We're having quite a different vibe on a what is this?
Yeah,
Thursday?
nighttime morning show is real different.
It really. Plus, we already worked a long day.
Yeah.
But this is fun. Yeah. So that's some of that. But what about barbecues, Kimberly? What are tips that you have for navigating barbecue situations?
Yeah.
And there's animal stuff being served.
Right. So first, and hear me out on this, carrot dogs.
I've always, it's interesting. I was going to ask about this if you tried one.
Yeah,
Because
I've made
always
them.
wanted to try. I've always wanted to make them, and I haven't. But I've
Mhm.
been seeing reels of people even non-vegan people making them and saying they're so good. And so
Yeah.
it's on my list to do. Maybe for
Mhm.
Memorial Day, when Memorial Day is really happening.
There you go. Yeah, I followed a recipe. I made them once. I was following the Engine 2 7-day rescue at the
Mhm.
time, which is like super strict. There's no oil, salt, or sugar in it, and very low fat. But it was actually Memorial Day weekend, and we're going to my parents, and we sit by the pool, and it's like a whole outdoor thing, and we barbecue. And I thought, well, I'm not going to get vegan hot dogs because that's completely off the way I've been eating, but I still want to enjoy the time. And they had a recipe, one of the Esselstyns. I don't know if it was one of like his wife or Anne or anyway, I'll find it and we'll link it somewhere. But yeah, so I made them and you just like kind of, shave the ends so they're rounded.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but, you can make them like the size of a standard, vegan bun. And yeah, you just, put them in the marinade and you can put them on the grill and they're like really good and they get soft. So it's not like you're not biting into like a crunchy carrot, right? You cook them where they're soft. I may have even like boiled them a little bit beforehand. I don't remember. But I remember biting into it and going, "Oh my god, it's like really like a hot dog." So it's like the perfect circle shape, just like a hot dog, and I still put mustard on it and some sauerkraut. It was really enjoyable. As far as like what I'm doing at barbecues when animal products are also being served is I've had some experiences where people are willing to make my food first. My
Mhm.
in-laws have done that many times where they they'll grill our veggie burgers and then we're eating an hour before everybody else, but our burgers weren't on the same grill with those made from cows, and so that was nice. Other times I've been in a situation where it's like the grill is big, this half is all vegetable stuff, this half is animal stuff, and I'm torn on that, and I think that kind of falls under the same thing as, like, if you go out to a restaurant that's not a vegan restaurant, there's a risk of cross-contamination. How comfortable are you with that? Because like I've seen people make food that way, and they use a different spatula for mine than they are for the animal products. So I know we're not using the same utensils. It's not cross contamination that way. But I've often wondered, like, are the juices from the
Mhm.
animal products like kind of in the air in the grill and like settling onto my veggie stuff? So I don't love that. I try to avoid that now, but I do think that falls under, like I said, that cross contamination where some vegans are like, look, that's just life. We don't live in a vegan world. I'll deal with it. I'm not choosing to eat an animal product. Um, but also, sometimes I just bring stuff that doesn't go on the grill. And then I know for sure that I'm not gonna end up with any animal products in my food. How about you?
Yeah, first of all, I want to circle back to the carrot dog. I saw a recipe. It might be in one of my millions of cookbooks that I have. um, but I saw a version somewhere where they take, the rice paper wraps and then
Hmm.
you wrap it around the carrot dog and it gives it like that crunchy, like skin feeling to it.
Right.
So, yeah. So, yeah, I
Hmm.
know I saw that somewhere. So, but I heard it's really good, just the way you said it too. So,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to make carrot dogs and I should do a reel about it and see
Yeah.
see how that is. It's on my list to do. So, yeah, I do similarly. Like I've been to places where they've cooked for me first.
Hmm.
Um, I've also or made things separately like when I go to my sister-in-law's house, she'll make me usually like a Dr. Prager's, which would probably crumble up on a grill anyway.
Yeah.
So she will make those in the oven for me. And
Hmm.
then I'm eating everything else, like the salads and stuff like that. Um, so usually that's what goes on there. So I don't even have to worry about anything on the grill because my burgers are made in the oven.
Hmm.
But then there's been times, yeah, I've had people make it first, or then there's like a separate section where my stuff's being made and or the vegetables are being made. And so, and I'm grateful for any of those types of efforts. If it especially if it's not, it also depends on the grill. Like if it's a grill where everything's close together, but if there's like a good enough space, then I feel a little bit better about that. Foil can be my friend in certain
Yeah.
situations, because that helps for sure. And then also bringing things that don't need to. Like I make this black bean mango quinoa salad, which I recently made for a potluck, and I posted it on my Instagram. So we'll include the link in the notes below if you want to make it. And the version I made was for like a big crowd, so you could always make a smaller amount. I just didn't know I was going to a potluck, so I didn't know how many people were being there. So we had like half of it left.
Mhm.
Um, and but again, I wasn't sure about how many people. So you can just play around the recipe to make as much as you want or as little as you want, but it's a great recipe. And so I've taken it camping before, and it's one of those things that tastes better the more you marinate it.
Mm.
And I a couple years ago I met up with my really close friends from my hometown Syracuse. We met up at this place, maybe like an hour from Albany, and we got this cabin together. And I brought that, and they liked it, and they're
Mm.
not vegan, and they're like, "Oh wow, this is really good," and it's really good. It's always great when you make something and the non-vegans are like, "Oh, this is really good."
Mhm.
It's just food that tastes good.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought vegan food is just food that tastes good?
Yeah.
And this is like you can add avocado to it, and it's really good like dipping in corn chips in it. Like
Oh,
it's so
yeah.
good. Yeah. So anyway, I like to bring things like that. And I love bringing things to share with non-vegans because I always see it as an opportunity to plant that seed of, hey,
Mhm.
look, my food is yummy,
Yeah.
right? And nothing was harmed.
Mhm.
By the way, do you ever get well, what about the plants, right? The plants
Ugh,
are
I know. Well, trees talk to each other. Like, yes, we know that.
Mhm.
However, they don't have the nervous system that
Right.
we and other animals have. And just like plants too, they're like, "Oh, plants scream when you cut your broccoli. Broccoli is screaming when you cut it from the stalk." And it's like, even if that were true, again, like they don't have the sentience that we do.
Mhm.
And we we know that animals feel pain, and from what we understand about plants, plants do not feel pain. Like, can you
Right.
imagine, like, how cruel, let's say, now I'm not a religious person, so I don't go, "Oh, God created this, God created that," but let's use that anyway. Could you imagine if God created plants who cannot move, they cannot escape pain, they cannot choose to be somewhere else where maybe they could be safer? Wherever they grow is where they grow. Could
Yeah.
you imagine if someone created that and then allowed them to feel pain? that they'd
Yeah.
never be able to get away from. How cruel would that be? Why would that exist? I don't know. That's
I'm
my take on that.
That's an interesting take. I never thought of that before, but I agree. And then also too, we have to eat, right?
Yeah.
So it's, picking the option, something that does have sentience, something that does have feelings mother cows care about their children and have to deal with them being taken away all the time and just all the other, terrible things that happen where we have to eat something. And I'm always talking about this book. I feel like wherever I'm talking on my channel, The Confident Vegan, but I'm always talking about Ed Winter's book, How to Argue with a Meat Eater, because
Mhm.
he debunks all of the nonsense that gets thrown at a vegan, like, and he even gave examples, all that, and he breaks down what sentience is, and he uses science and all of that stuff. So if you ever want a good book that helps you prepare yourself on how to handle all those things, and what's great about this book too is you don't have to read it in order because he has all the chapters labeled of what the topic is. So if you don't want to read it from cover to cover and you just want to,
Mhm.
like, how do I handle this stupid question that I have to deal
Right.
with? It
That's
might be a good
awesome.
book. It might be a good book to have on hand for, your summer barbecue thing.
Yeah. I think it also, like, a way to kind of boil it down is, like, it's the difference between eating something and someone.
Yes. Ooh, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
I like that. Eating something versus someone. You're
Yeah.
brilliant.
Oh, thank you. You are too. That's why this is so good.
Well, we're brilliant together.
We are. Yeah. We really are. Going back to camping, I have not been camping since 2005.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was vegetarian then. I wasn't vegan yet. And I went with the girl, the woman, girl. We were 25, 24, 25.
To be
Who was
24, 25.
I know, right? Sleeping on the ground like it was nothing. Oh my gosh. Um, 5 minutes in, I'd have like a sore back, a sore neck. I wouldn't be able to sleep. Anyway, so I went with the woman who was my best friend at the time, and her like boyfriend and a couple of his friends and her brother and my brother came, and I was the only vegetarian.
Mhm.
And it was like they all knew this, and they knew that I was a vegetarian that didn't touch meat. So I made that very clear all the time. And every time there was a meal, it was like, okay, well, Kimberly didn't do any cooking, so you have to wash the dishes. And I was like, how many times do I have to tell you I'm not washing dishes that have animal products on them? And oh my
Mhm.
God, I was the enemy of the entire camping weekends. Like I wound up leaving early. Like my brother and I were like, okay,
Aw.
like, yeah, because it was just like they were so insistent. And I was I'm sure I didn't handle it well either. I was taking
'Cause
it
you're
personally.
24, 25. Who
Right.
handles anything well at 24,
Right.
20?
Like your brain is just finally finished developing at 25, right? So, but yeah, it was so this is the last time I went camping. But I'd like to do it again, I think, just being outside and connecting with nature, with people who will not be eating animal products so I can help with the dishes.
I think we should have a camping adventure, Kimberly, and then we should film it or
Yes.
record it. Not film it, on our phone.
Right. It's like you say film it, and that can go two ways, right? Either film it is like, oh, okay, or film is like, oh, you've got like professional things happening. It's like there's no in between when you use that word.
Right, exactly. I realized, like, wait a minute, record it. Yes,
Yeah.
we should record a vegan camping adventure.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Hey, maybe we can make it to vegan camp out in the UK and then we can do it there
I would love to do that.
one
Every
day.
year, I'm like, okay, next year, I hope to make it to vegan camp out.
Yeah,
That'd be so much fun.
it would.
Um, yeah, it's tough, and people don't understand why you don't want to touch the animal stuff. When I first went vegan, I still made non-vegan food for my family. And then little by little, it was getting harder for me to do that. And
Yeah.
then when we became empty nesters, I finally had that conversation with my husband, who was thrilled to now have to cook his own meat.
But he's
But
doing it and he's fine, right?
yeah, he's doing it and he's fine.
Yeah. Just a bit of an adjustment.
Yeah, exactly. And some
Yeah.
commentary, little comments here and there, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, this is actually a fun discussion, and I feel like there's all these like it can be a challenging time as a vegan, but it also can be a fun time as a vegan. And if it can be a great opportunity to share things and educate people and answer questions. Um and also I think to your story about camping with your friends, it just reminds me just how important vegan community is.
Yes.
So find your people, right?
Mhm.
It's so important to find the right people to spend that time, or at least people who are willing to respect where you are and not try to push you to do something that you're not comfortable with.
Right. Yeah.
Is there anything else, Kimberly, that you want to share or talk about on this? And while you're thinking of that, I just want to
Mhm.
say we would love to hear your summer suggestions. So feel
Yep.
free to put in the comments below this video. What do you do as a vegan in the summertime when you're
Yeah.
any travel tips? I mean, Kimberly and I, we could use travel tips, right? I mean, we know a lot
Mhm.
of travel tips, but sometimes you learn something new and exciting. So
Yeah,
share
for
your travel
sure.
tips, your barbecue tips, um, any tips that
Mhm.
are helpful
Yeah.
for the summer.
So one thing I do want to share, I quickly pulled it up to make sure I got the name right. So one of my favorite things at a barbecue has always been potato salad and macaroni salad, but I'm going to focus on potato salad
Love potato
and
salad.
love it. But when I first went vegetarian, I wanted to learn other things than just like mayo and potatoes. I was trying to learn how to cook. So I was really trying to explore other things. And one of the things that I love is from one of my very first cookbooks from PETA called The Compassionate Cook or
Mhm.
Don't Eat the Animals. And it's a collection of recipes from various celebrities and stuff. And
Oh, fun.
yeah, and there's a potato salad recipe in there that uses more like an Italian dressing, and you make it yourself. It's not like you
Mm.
buy it at the store, but it's like so full of like herbs, and the dressing is so nice, and the potatoes just really like soak it all in. It's one of my
Sounds so
favorite
good.
potatoes. Oh, it's so good. I'm actually now I think I'm going to make it because I hadn't thought about that potato salad in so long, and the cookbook is right downstairs in the kitchen. So
I think you should make it.
yeah.
Sounds
Oh,
really
I can
good.
make it and make a reel about it.
There you could. I think you should.
I have to learn how to make reels. And in case you guys don't know already, Jen is the social media video editor, all of that, because she knows what she's doing. I don't.
Barely, but I somehow figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we do. We just lots of Googling and learning and trial and error, right?
Between the two of us, like there's things that you know how to do. Like you're really great with organizing. You're our tech support. You do I I can do the graphics and the editing stuff. Kimberly does all the other things, and then we just collaborate and it just somehow works.
Yeah, it does.
I want to circle back to potato salad for a moment because my mom, she made this really good potato salad, and I made it last summer for the first time since being vegan. I was just really craving it. And it tasted the same with a vegan
Mm,
mayo. And
yeah.
it just again, you don't need to have an egg mayo to still have the things that you love. Um and like hers had like celery, red onion,
Mm,
some other stuff I have to think now. She used to like put a little honey in it to make it sweet. So I put like a little maple syrup instead to like balance
mhm.
out all the flavors. and it was really good. But I want to try your potato salad because that sounds really interesting. And
Yeah.
it reminds me another thing I make in the summer that I completely forgot is pasta salad. I'll get the
Yes.
Bonza pasta and a frozen bag of like some kind of like stir fry vegetable. And I'll combine those things, cooked, of course. Um,
Mhm.
and then I'll take like an Italian dressing or a vinaigrette or something like that. And it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Um, so that's always another go-to thing that I also make when I go like camping or like a barbecue or something. And with
Mhm.
the chickpea pasta, you're getting protein as well. So it
Right.
fills you up as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it gives you extra protein points with the non-vegans.
Right. Yes. One of my favorite pasta salads is, kind of just a basic like whatever pasta is your favorite. And then like a Greek dressing without
Mhm.
cheese in it, obviously. But then I make the feta cubes from Fiber Fueled, Dr. Wilby's book, Fiber Fueled. He has a
Mm,
recipe in there for tofu feta. And it's just like
yeah.
you take the tofu out of the package, like you don't cook it or anything. You cut it into cubes, you season it with whatever the seasonings are that make it taste like feta. And it's so good. And so then you're also getting, again, like you said, the protein. So nobody can say anything about that,
Mhm.
but it also has like that texture where it does seem like almost cheesy and it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's so good.
And that's why like tofu is such an underrated uh ingredient. I
Mhm.
mean, those of us who know how to use it know
Right.
you can make so many amazing things with it. So
Mhm.
tofu is good stuff.
Yeah.
I just looked at the recording time. We've been chatting for a while. This has been a lot of fun.
It
Um,
has.
and we have so much energy.
Yeah, I know. It's 9:30 at night.
It's always a party when we hang out.
It is.
Um, yeah. So I can't think of any other tips right now. Can you think of anything, Kimberly?
No, I think we've covered all that I had to offer. Oh, we totally missed. You know what? We'll do it in another show where because we'd also talked about things like sunscreen and making sure like
Oh,
the
yeah.
other summery stuff is vegan. So yeah, we'll do that in another show.
I think it's a great idea because we can do something on like makeup and other types of stuff. That's a great idea. We
Yeah.
will do that. Well, it was so nice hanging out with you, Kimberly, as always.
Same.
And
Yeah,
thank you all for joining us and letting us sleep in, or hopefully sleeping in, depending on
right.
what our cats are doing.
Exactly. You imagine we're both up and like while the recording's going, we're like commenting back to people who are commenting. They're like, oh God, we could have done this live anyway.
Right? But it gives us the option.
That's true. And we can always comment from bed. We don't have to be up and on
That's
camera. So
true. That's true. We can still be in our PJs and not have to, get all glamorous for the
yeah.
camera. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see
Thank
you
you.
next week live.
Yay.